Welcome back to Grow Joyfully Home and Garden. Today I needed to come out here and get some of the very last red elephant heart plums so I can finish up another batch of red plum jelly. I'm going to pick some things out here in the orchard, then go over to the tomatoes and fill up my cart, and then I'm going to go in and make peach salsa. But I thought I'd bring you along with me while I pick the fruit. So let's get started. I'm currently balancing on a 5-foot ladder, trying not to let earwigs drop down my shirt. And I'm picking as many plums as I can. As you can see up here, there's still a few of them left, and they're just so beautiful. They make the best jelly. So it's my intention to get one more batch, at least one more batch of jelly. So this is what it looks like up here in the plum tree. There's the summer house. There's the ivy fence. And here's the orchard. I made it out of the tree safely, and now I have enough plums to be able to make another batch of jelly. One more little bit that my son can pick and sell down at the farm stand, but we've had at least 3 branches break because of the weight of the plums, which is bad practice on our part. But we're going to trim it down so it's not so high and the branches don't stick out so far, and next year we'll definitely thin the fruit a lot better. There was just so much to do and it got away from us, but we do what we can. Now I'm going to pick some apples to bring in to make apple juice. Just about all of these have buggy holes, so we're going to have to go through each one, wash them off, core them. We don't even have to core them. What we have to do is get the buggy holes out before we make juice. I was just about to pick that apple up. I'm so glad that I did not. I just harvested the last of the Bartlett pears. This tree is full of Anjou pears, A-N-J-O-U. And it's been here almost as long as this house, and we've been here, which is 24 and a half years. It has always been a terrible tree in that it would never bear. But, I don't know, in the last 3 or 4 years it has started bearing fruit, and now it's fairly well covered, which is amazing to me. So it's nice to have some pears that will come on later than the Bartletts, so we don't get overwhelmed and we have fresh pears for quite a long season. So that's pretty exciting. To stop and pick a few nectarines, then head over to the tomatoes. I have a lot of these to put up, and I'm going to make nectarine salsa, like my peach salsa. I think you can trade them out for each other. These may not be quite as sweet, although I don't know, when they're ripe they're pretty nice. And then I can just can some, just like I would can peaches. That is so much fruit. I'm very grateful for it. That's a lot of work. There's a wasp flying around there, so I'm going to have to be careful when I get it out. They're definitely present. Actually, I think that's a yellow jacket. Whatever it is, it's a pain. If I get anything out of this sad mess, it will be a miracle. And by the time I find it, through all the weeds, I'm sure it'll be inedible. I'm keeping an eye on the corn, just to see if we can get a few ears off. I would really like to be able to take at least 20 or 30 feet of this area and take everything out and put it into more grass, so we can have some nice paths that we can walk on and a little more park-like, so we have a lot less that we plant. I think we should just encourage this raspberry patch to come out here from there where it's growing, because it's coming out this way anyway, and have it grow this far turn this whole thing into a raspberry patch with much wider rows, so we can get either the lawnmower or the rototiller between the rows to keep that under control. I think we're just going to have to take what we have, keep the best stock of it, trim it down, take good care of it, make sure the rows are wide, and then I think we'll get more fruit, more vegetables in return. So eventually I think it would help and make sense. But I want to check the cucumbers today and not let those get too big as I step around watermelon plants. Got one here and one here, and those are big enough for people who want to pickle them. I think that's a good size. There's one clear down here. I better put the camera down and just take a really good look back here in no man's land. You can certainly keep track of your plants and the fruit they grow much easier if you grow them vertically. So that is my intention. That was my intention earlier. I just didn't get here early enough to tie them up. But now that they are tied up, I can keep a good eye on them. Here's another one. My husband only has one more row of potatoes and we're done with potatoes for the year. That big green weedy patch was potatoes, and I keep begging my husband to either plant it with fall rye, winter wheat, or cover it with black plastic if nothing else, because this is just insane. So this is going to be all nice and bare, and it needs to be covered. It either needs to be planted with fall rye, winter wheat, vetch, red clover, anything like that, or covered up with black plastic to keep the weeds down. It's just taking us over. This wild watermelon patch has a watermelon there and there, and there's one there, and who knows what else is in that mess. Smarter gardening. That's what I'm going to have written on my tombstone. She finally learnt smarter gardening. So I washed up my garden sleeves, and as you can see, it didn't even begin to take off the dirt. So that's something I'm going to have to come to terms with, that the sleeves, while they're clean to look at, they don't look clean. But that's part of gardening. What do you use? What do you have? What do you wear when you're gardening that stays clean and unstained? So since I'm going to go in here and work in the weeds, I'm going to put my gardening sleeves on. So I have my gardening sleeves on, and now I'm going to go work in the weeds. I don't know what these weeds are, but they really bother me. Too bad they couldn't be used for something positive. Somebody that's an herbalist might be able to tell me different, but for right now, they are the enemy. And I am going to go through here and check the cucumbers back here in no man's land. Well, that looks better on this side, but as we get over here, the cucumbers become entangled with the watermelon. So I don't think I'm going to take the time today to cut the watermelon out. I probably just need to come in here and trace them back from where they start in the ground. And if they have a fruit on, let the fruit stay there, but cut it from the fruit to the end of the vine. So that way, the watermelon will spend more time developing the fruit that it has on it right now. I really hate having messes like this. As soon as the corn is finished, we're going to pull the stalks off. We're going to pull the stalks out, try to sell them at the farm stand. Then I'll trace the watermelon back to where they began, either here or clear over there on the other side of this horrible patch. And I'll see if they have any fruit And then I'm just going to go crazy on this and pull all the weeds out. This is a very rich part of the garden here. It's probably the best. So I'm going to see if my husband and my son will help me get all the weeds pulled out of here. And then we will plant it with, I think, fall rye or winter wheat, whatever my husband bought. Yeah, because this isn't good. I don't like this. It doesn't make gardening fun for me. So I want to have each of these areas just well tended and under control, either with weed fabric or having had something like fall rye planted in it the fall before, and then you till it under in the spring when you're ready to plant it. So we'll see how that goes. This was the cucumber harvest for the day, just from this cattle panel, which is plenty. So now I'm going to move on to the tomatoes, if there's room in my garden wagon. I'm not so sure. Here I am with my tomato loves. Like I said on the video before, the Dr. White cheese tomatoes are just gorgeous this year. And it seems like each year, one particular variety will really shine. I've got some gorgeous Amish paste tomatoes here. And let's see what we have here. There we go. A Granny Cantrell, getting darker. And there's my accordion tomato on the other side. I think I better take it in today. I don't want to risk having bugs get in it or having it fall off. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. We've got some orange Russolini, some Gazante, which I am never growing again, I keep telling you. And we have black Krim, which thrills me to death. I really love the dark tomatoes. I love all the tomatoes. What am I talking about? This is Old German, which is a very lovely, reliable tomato. I love the orange and yellow tomatoes because they have a lot less acid. And for me, that's good. It doesn't hurt my mouth or my tummy. So that's one of the reasons why I started growing them. First, I started growing them because of the novelty and the beauty. And then I tasted them and how sweet they were and how much lower the acid was. And so I was definitely sold on them. But I'm going to harvest. Look at that beauty. That's very much what a Cherokee purple looks like. In fact, if you were to put Cherokee purple and black Krim next to each other, I think it would be very difficult to tell them apart. I'm going to put you down and use the clippers so I don't have to pull on them, and I will show you what they look like once they're harvested. I've had my lunch. I emptied out the garden wagon. Took my son and I probably at least 15 minutes to empty it. And I'm back out here on the last 2 rows of tomatoes to harvest a few of those. Then I'm going to go inside and I'm going to do that nectarine salsa. I've also started some nectarines on the stove to simmer them down to get the juice out so I can make nectarine jelly. That's going to be great. So I've definitely got my work cut out for me, and it's already 2:35. I'm going to harvest these 3 beautiful yellow brandywine tomatoes. I really love the brandywines. They're a potato leaf tomato, and they're just wonderful, wonderful, sweet, delicious tomatoes. I definitely recommend that you grow them. Here's a beautiful evergreen tomato that's ready. When it starts to look a little yellow, so you can compare it to this one that's just kind of a see-through green, but this, you can tell it's ready. I'm actually getting a few large barred board tomatoes. Here it is right here. It's a beautiful color. This is the only plant that turned out for whatever reason, that germinated, that got planted, whatever. And here's some mortgage lifter. And I'm not sure what these are. I have to go around the other side. I've got to stop harvesting. Everything's falling off. I think I'm going to end the video here. Take things in, cool down, take all of these things out of here. I've got to weigh every tomato because that's just for me. I might get to the salsa today. I hope so. I've got to get to some of this. It's just, you don't want it to sit there and go bad. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you're enjoying our last few weeks or months of our lovely summer. It's been a lovely summer. It's been a great summer. Some of the parts have been hard, left over from how terrible and awful our last summer was, losing our mom. So we're still all navigating that whole thing, and I can't expect it to go away and be more manageable in 1 year and 3 months, but we're still pushing through. My sister and her husband made it safely to England, and they're going to start their cruise probably tomorrow. I'm happy for them. Meanwhile, I'm going back in the house. I'm going to unload this wagon, and I'm going to wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next video.